Today I am going to talk about sustainable development. You must have heard about this term sustainable development. And you might sometimes be wondering that after having heard about this topic many times, what exactly is sustainable development? It so happens that sometimes we talk about this subject too often, but just we gloss over the real meaning of the subject. I recall about 60 years back, a cartoon was published in New Yorker, a very famous magazine of the United States, in which a lady brings a cup of tea to her husband in the morning, and her husband is sitting in the garden in his front yard. And the lady very politely says, "Oh dear, would you please explain to me the structure of double helix once again? You know that the DNA double helix has been the most talked about subject in the world by biochemists and molecular biologists. And so is the case with the sustainable development. Scientists of all descriptions, politicians of all descriptions have talked about this subject, and many intellectuals. What sustainable development means is the development, progressing, benefiting of oneself or of the society judiciously, not at the cost of spending too much of natural resources. For example, fuel. We know that it is not unlimited, and if we relentlessly use this gasoline for our movement, for our development, and so on, a time will come when these resources will be depleted completely, and a time may come when our future generation may suffer from the deficiency of this. So, we are, if relentlessly using natural resources for the present time, our future generations will suffer from the consequences of the present, that is, of our acts. And therefore, we have to be very careful in using many things. Another aspect of sustainable development is recycling of natural resources so that we can maximize the output at the minimum cost of external resources, energy systems. For example, you are growing fish in a tank. After some time, you have to replenish the water of the tank, and when you drain out the water, you will find that it has it is rich in nitrogenous waste. If that water is used for the irrigation of your backyard where you are growing your vegetables, the output of your vegetables will be increased and you will be benefited as a consequence. Now, when you grow more vegetables, the output will be greater and you can perhaps also earn a little bit from it. So, without the using of fertilizers, you can grow the vegetable because you have drained the water from the fish tank, which is enriched with nitrogenous waste. You know that the fishes excrete also. They excrete urea and a little bit of ammonia. So ammonia gets dissolved in water, urea gets dissolved in water, and so this nitrogenous water is used for growing plants. And this is just another example of sustainable development. Let me give you another example. You have 4 cows. You are keeping these cows for production of milk, but you are also having a lot of cow dung. You are also having urine. You can collect the urine and use it for medical purposes. You can take the cow dung and do vermicomposting. You produce manure out of it and use the manure for doing organic farming. The result will be that the yield will be greater, and that will benefit you. This is another example of sustainable development. So there are a number of examples of sustainable developments. These can be used judiciously so as to minimize the cost, that is the energy cost, and maximize the production. This is called sustainable development.